are all unique and have our own personal story. So dive in with me and let's get to know some extraordinary people. This week I sit down with my sister-in-law, Elyse Hall. We have a fun conversation about childhood, religion, working moms. Also, we do make a bet, and I want you to know that I did win the bet. Enjoy the episode. Okay, Elyse, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
How old are you today? Today is legitimately your birthday.
I'm 25. I'm 35.
Oh, you're 35.
I am.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy because it seems like I was just celebrating my 35th. And that was my first birthday in my life that I ever had a really hard time with.
Really?
How do you feel?
Why?
I just felt super old. It was like when I was getting ready to turn 30, I was so excited.
Really? See, I hated turning 30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in my 20s, I did everything. I got married. I had kids.
Yeah.
Both of my kids. I started my company.
All right. What did you get for your birthday?
A hug.
So I actually have a birthday present for you.
Ooh.
But it's not going to be ready until October.
What is it?
Any guesses?
Are you pregnant?
Yes.
Are you serious? Ah! Are you serious? Shit, what are you having? What are you having?
I'll know next week.
Oh my gosh.
You are so
Did you
funny.
know? I hope it's a boy.
Oh, it is. No question.
Well, there is a question. It could not be a boy.
It's a boy. And we will edit this out if it's not. But we're going to include this if it is. Because I'm going to predict it's a boy. So, Elyse Hall, photography.
Yes. Photography.
Your work really is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm always proud to tell people, oh, my sister-in-law's a wedding photographer. She's one of the preferred photographers for the Four Seasons, Biltmore. And I'm just so proud because you really are such a good photographer.
Thank you.
And your work is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm also honored that we are one of the few families that you will still agree to photograph, just like our yearly photos.
This is true. And actually, I just photographed. So there's this family that I love. I shot 2 of their daughters' weddings. And the older daughter got married like in DC before the other 2. And so I never shot her wedding. And so she just came to town for her birthday. She wanted me to photograph her family.
Oh, so you had
I
to.
was like, and I told her, I said, normally I would say no.
Yeah.
But I felt like I had to.
Yes,
Felt
that
like
is
I
so
couldn't
neat.
say no.
Well, and what an honor.
I know. And I love that family. And the parents came and I got some pictures of them with the baby.
Yeah, that's
and
fun.
It was cute.
So I always love to ask you about your weddings or just like after you shoot a wedding where you will tell, oh my gosh, this is the craziest wedding. Mm-hmm. Like I remember you shot one with Jimmy Kimmel. It wasn't his wedding, but his wife's
best
friend's wedding. So you got to, chill a little bit with him. But I'm always so fascinated to hear about your weddings and just because it's just fun.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your favorite wedding or most memorable wedding. I guess because favorite and most memorable could be 2 completely different weddings.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I shot a wedding years ago where they had like a prenup issue and they didn't actually get married. They threw like a $100,000 birthday party.
Oh my goodness.
That was kind of traumatic.
What are your thoughts on prenups?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's hard. Like, it's hard for me to judge because I've been married for so dang long. Like, if Jeff asked me for a prenup, I would laugh. Like, even if Jeff is a millionaire, I would be very offended by that. Because, like, myself personally, I would never marry someone, obviously, for money. I'm not into that.
Right.
But then it's like, if you have a lot of money and you're obviously marrying, like a Nicolas Cage should get a prenup.
Yeah.
Because the girls he dates or marries or whatever are like, ugh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like it's circumstantial.
Yeah, it is. Well, I asked that because when Davey and I were engaged and we were about to get married.
Did you ask him for a prenup?
I was totally joking. I thought it'd be funny. Like, hey, let's do a prenup because I was already in my career.
Yeah.
He was still in college. I married a guy 3.5 years younger than me. So I'm putting him through. I'm the one, making the money. Yeah. I had bought a house before we got married and all that. But I was totally joking to Davey. I'm like, hey, let's do a prenup. Number one is because my dad's an estate planning attorney, so he could draft that up for me in a second.
Would you have really gone through with it?
Dime? No, but I just thought it was funny. I was not even really serious about it. I just made the joke and suggestion, totally jokingly, right? Saying, hey, let's get a prenup. I'm like, well, just have my dad draft it up quick. And he did not think that was funny.
Really? Like he got upset by that?
No, we didn't get into a big fight, but he did not find it funny at all. Like, I thought it was funny.
That's amazing.
I mean, we could have said something. It's not like I had anything. You know what I mean? I didn't have anything, but it was just funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure plenty of clients have prenups. I don't want to know about the inner workings of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because to me, it takes away the magic.
Right. Okay, that's another thing that I love about you is you're a romantic.
100%.
And so do you just get totally invested in these weddings?
Yes, every single one. I still cry. I've probably been to, I don't even know how many weddings at this point. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And I still find myself getting emotional when they walk down the aisle, or oh, I love the dad first dance. I think that's so sweet. And the toast, or some toasts. I mean, some toasts you're oh gosh, but most toasts are really sweet. And I love all that. Plus, I think it's what a romantic thing to do. And all the technology we have and all the information we have, and people still love each other and still have these fantasies of spending their lives together. Mm-hmm. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But I just like that people are still doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
It's fun. And it's a day. I mean, if you think about it, it's the only time in their lives that they're going to see all the people they love all together. Maybe for the last time, right? I mean, how often does your whole family get together? Or my whole family get together? Yeah. Never.
Or your families combined and just your friends, and it's just all these people together.
It's awesome. I love it. And I'm spoiled because I get to work with, I've been doing this wedding business for so long. I get to work with everybody that I love for the most part. And so I'm always working with friends, and I'm with people I love, and I'm pretty selective about who I photograph. So I have clients that I just adore. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a good, I don't know. It's just, I feel I'm very fortunate right now. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah. Would you say you have your dream job? I'm not saying it's a perfect job, because who has the perfect job?
Literally nobody. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because is this the job I dreamed of doing as a child? I love that I work in photography. Mm-hmm. I think one thing with this job that's probably more difficult than I would, it's a lot more business, and it's a lot more just, I think what's made me successful, in what I do, taking good pictures is just that's a prerequisite. Mm-hmm. That's not even the part of it. Yeah. It's having a good personality and being able to carry a conversation and make people feel comfortable.
And interacting
and talking to people, and being good at being on time and being organized, and knowing kind of the ins and the outs, and having good relational skills. And that's more the job.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would imagine in some of these weddings that are a lot larger than others, just wrangling the people in.
Yeah. I have a very loud voice.
You're good at that. Now, you did not shoot my wedding, but you and Mindy Udall were pretty much my wedding planners.
I remember when I got to your wedding, I was oh my gosh, we recommended this. This was
oh yeah, you did my wedding.
It was amazing.
You did my wedding, and I loved every second of it.
I loved your wedding.
It was beautiful.
I loved your wedding.
But I have been to weddings, a couple of weddings that you have shot.
Okay.
And you're good. I mean, you just get to business. One of them was my darling sister-in-law, Millie.
Oh,
and I remember, so my father-in-law he loves taking pictures.
He does like to take pictures.
He has his camera everywhere. We'll go over there for Sunday dinner, or the kids will just go over and play, and he's got his camera and he's documenting. But I love that because he always gets really good pictures. And then not only does he take the pictures, but anytime we leave an event, even if it's just a dinner, or just we'll stop by for a minute, and he'll grab the camera. We leave, and he's texting these photos out to the whole group.
Even off his big camera?
Yes. He'll take the chip, and he does it from his big camera. but it's just, that is who my father-in-law is.
Yeah.
And I love it because he gets great photos.
Yeah.
But I remember when you were going to shoot Millie's wedding, I remember Davey. Me and Davey were like, okay, Randy, just don't tell her what to do. She will get all the photos because, he gets so excited. He loves his photos. Okay, so you're a total romantic.
This is true.
You're a great wedding photographer. And you love to keep up with your celebrity news.
Yes.
You're like me. You look at people.com every day.
That's the only place I get my news because this is my feeling. I don't need to be told all the sad things in life. Like, life is not actually like, there's so much great in the world, but it's like, for the most part, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens. And I don't need to watch the news to hear about it all day. Like, so for me, I look at people, and if it's that bad, I'm going to hear about it on there.
Yeah. Because people will talk about like shootings and
Yeah.
pretty drastic
They'll, like,
things.
if it's like
and some political things too going on.
If it's like a state emergency, we'll hear about it.
In Elise's opinion, if it's legitimate news, if it's newsworthy, it's going to be on people.com.
It's going to be on people.com.
Okay.
So I'm going to hear about it.
You're going to hear about it. Okay. If you could photograph any particular couple's wedding and have those photographs published on people.com, because you always go on people.com and it's like you see Gwyneth Paltrow's wedding photos or this Leah Michelle's.
I didn't like either of their wedding photos.
Okay, so if you could photograph any celebrity's wedding and they would be on people.com, whose wedding would you photograph?
I don't know if it comes to mind because it's the most famous wedding, but like obviously the royal wedding. And I have a crush a little bit on Harry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh. The red hair.
Ooh, really?
Oh, I was in love. There's this guy, and I don't even know him. There's this guy named Frank in high school. We went to high school together. He was like much older than I was, but he had this red hair, super olivey tan skin, and like green eyes. Like, he was so good looking. And I became good friends with his little brother in hopes to one day meet him. But then his little brother was like way too young and he was like a kid. And so I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. So I've always had a thing for redheads. I kind of always thought I'd marry a redhead. Isn't that weird?
No, it's not.
Yeah. So I definitely have a crush on Harry. So
you would have liked to have photographed their wedding.
Yeah, but I don't love her. I'm not like a huge fan of her. So then I don't know. Thanks, Jeffrey.
So she seems to be getting a lot of backlash in the news.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of rubs people the wrong way.
I don't dislike her. I like her. I think she's pretty. I think, I feel sorry for her.
I feel sorry. Could you imagine if that was your dad?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, the dad alone.
Oh
Okay,
my
that's
gosh.
a whole story right there. But why I feel sorry for her is her life as she knew it is over.
And I think she probably had a pretty decent life.
Oh, absolutely. I would imagine.
Let me let him out.
But she must truly love him because I believe she does. I really do. I don't think that she did this for the fame and the lifestyle. Because she pretty much had that already. Not that exact lifestyle. But I think she truly loves him. And I think that she really sacrificed a lot to be with him. So I feel sorry for her in that regard. The only time I've ever been critical of her, and I feel guilty for even saying this, is every picture since she was like 11 weeks pregnant or however.
She holds her belly.
She holds her belly like
I know.
constantly.
I know.
It's just like constant.
Well,
And maybe I held my belly a lot. So if I start holding my belly through this pregnancy, if every time you see me, I've got my hand on the belly, just look at me and say, Megan.
Megan. If it's a girl, Meghan Markle.
Oh, no. For the name?
Yeah.
Oh, heavens, no.
No, you're going to use...
But I do like Meghan Markle. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The other thing is like a lot of people have quit since working for her. Nobody has quit with Kate. Not one person.
I love her. I love Kate.
She has issues with like Kate and William.
Does she? Do you think
They moved out of the palace they moved their offices. They used to have like the together.
Right.
They moved out.
Do you think it's because they really have friction in their relationship? Or do you think they really do want to pursue different, objectives and charities and just cases? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm curious. I would love to know.
I kind of buy into
like
it.
to be a fly on the wall and just know.
That's what's great about like shows like The Crown, because you feel like you are.
Yes.
You're like, this is what really happened, even though who knows if it did.
Okay, The Crown I love, but let's talk about The Favorite.
That's a weird. That movie kind of depressed me at the end, because it's like they're both fighting for this affection of the queen because they want their status.
Right.
Sorry, my kids just came up. They want their status, but then the one who wins in the end, like, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Like, she gets to massage the queen's legs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was weird as hell. I'm just gonna say that movie was so stinking weird, and I went with my mom. I always
You always pick the worst movies to go with your mom.
my mom.
Like Trainwreck.
A Trainwreck, Black Swan.
You took her to Black Swan?
Yes, we saw Black Swan. I always sit in these really weird movies, but the thing is, I never feel awkward with my mom
That's good.
in those.
I felt
Now,
really
if I went
awkward.
with my dad to some of those movies, yeah, I'd probably feel a little awkward. I did feel a little awkward when we were in Trainwreck.
Yeah, I was sitting next to your mom.
think why I felt awkward was because I picked up on you.
Because I felt
you
awkward.
yes, I could pick up on that energy.
They were talking
So I think
about
that
a penis that was like this big, and I'm sitting next to my mother-in-law being like, oh my gosh, make it stop. Make it stop.
And she left.
She left
the movie. We stayed and finished it, but
yeah.
she left. Anyway, but yeah, I see these weird movies. But my mom, we're about halfway into The Favorite, and I hear she totally fell asleep.
She hates that movie.
She did not like that movie.
She talks
was
about
so bored by
how
that.
much she hates that movie.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know why Amy likes it.
I like that guy's movies. What's his name?
The
Lobster.
Lobster.
He did that deer hunt.
I can't
one.
watch the deer one. For some reason, that kid's face freaks me out. Can't watch it. I cannot watch it.
I really like this guy's movies, and I don't even know who the guy is. His name. I'm so bad with directors and all that. I couldn't tell you. Anyhow,
I like the way it was shot.
yes, and the music.
Yeah.
And just how dramatic it was, and the costumes. It was just great. I loved it.
And I love all those actresses.
Yeah.
Did you watch the acceptance speech for the Oscars for her?
Yes, I did. And I loved her.
She was so cute.
Well, she just seems so humble to me. Did you ever watch the TV show she was on called Broadchurch? That's a really good, like, British mystery.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to watch it.
It's a really good one. My mother-in-law loves all those British mystery murder shows. I mean, you name it, my mother-in-law's seen it. She's the biggest fan, and they're actually really good.
I'm not a big fan of, like, British humor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like Monty Python.
Okay, so speaking about movies, I always like when we're hanging out as couples or just as families, or me, you, and Jeff and Davey. You and Davey have a lot in common.
This is
You're
true.
the millennials. Am I a millennial?
I don't know.
What's the cutoff?
I think I'm, like, technically a millennial by the age.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if you're a millennial.
Oh, I am so damn old.
I don't think you are a millennial. Like, even if you were in the age bracket, I don't think you are personally a millennial. I don't even think I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
Like, parts of it, sure.
Right.
But, like, I don't know.
Even Davey, I feel like he isn't even really. Maybe it's some
I don't know
like
why
pop
everyone's
culture
hating
stuff.
the millennials.
Yeah. What's up with the millennials?
I don't know. Everyone.
If everybody's hating the millennials, my husband is definitely not a millennial. Because he is a lovable dude.
Yeah. I love Davey. Davey and I have a very similar sense of humor.
Yes, you do.
And we like a lot of the same shows. Mm-hmm. It's probably why we get along. That's probably, you know what I've decided more than anything is opposites truly. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for getting too close. Opposites attract. Like, Jeff and I cannot be more opposite.
But it works.
But it works. You and Davey are very opposite. But it works.
But we work.
Because it's like, if I married someone the same as me, it'd be exhausting.
Yeah, it'd be exhausting and just kind of boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to be able to, you're opposites, but over the years, you found common interests and common ground on things, right?
Totally.
But you're still you and Jeff's still him.
Yeah.
And it just makes for a more dynamic, interesting relationship.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I think so. I mean, I feel like this year has tried my patience with marriage. It's just not been easy this year.
It's been a tough year.
Yeah, I think so.
Dive into that.
Well, I mean, when you're married to someone that's not you, sorry, I'm like so sweaty.
You're good.
You know, we're just really different. And he's kind of had his own stuff this year, just like figuring everything out. And it's hard because like what he needs in life, I don't need. Mm-hmm. Like he needs things that like, for me, like I can recognize that I'm funny and I can make people laugh, but like I don't need to make a career out of that. That doesn't do it for me. Mm-hmm. But for him, he enjoys that and needs that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just been kind of like focusing on that we're just different and what the good is in that. And it's a challenge. I mean, I feel like every year it changes too.
Yeah.
Not like we change, but like every year we're just trying to figure out like, you know,
struggles can make a shift.
And like our kids every year change.
Yeah.
Right? They get older, they have this, they have that. And so it's just constantly what I can say is I feel like it's just constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's constantly evolving and you have to evolve with it. And that's, I think, where people get in trouble. I think that's when people get divorced is because they're just like, well, you used to be like this or you used to be like that. And like, I'm not the same I was a month ago. He's not the same he was a month ago. We're always changing and our kids are changing and life's changing and jobs changing and work, you know, I mean, I work in like a very exciting and fun job, but like it's very predictable, but also kind of not predictable. And like, he's just trying to figure out all his stuff. And so for me, like, I feel like this year it's just been like we moved and that's always stressful and, you know, so it's just like the groove of everything.
Yeah, kids going to a new school.
Same school.
Oh,
new school. You're right. Nope, you're right. I'm like, wait, no, we didn't change school. No, you're totally right. And so, yeah, it's just like, and it's just, I think we live in this age where, and this is something I don't really struggle with. Like, I don't really care to compare myself to other people. I don't really have that problem. But it's also like, there's a little bit of like the mom guilt of like, oh my gosh, am I doing enough with the girls? Am I available enough for the girls? Are Jeff and I spending enough time together? You know, I don't know. Like, are we taking enough vacations? Do we travel enough? Like, and it's more to myself. Mm-hmm. I don't really care if the neighbor's doing that. But I'm saying like for me, like, I'm like, am I giving them the childhood that I want them to have or that I wish I had? Or I think I'm just constantly like trolling myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you feel, well, first of all, I think that's very refreshing that you're open and honest about that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel, I think, in my personal opinion, especially nowadays with social media, that they have to put on the facade that they live a perfectly happy life.
Yeah, I don't do
everything
that.
is hunky-dory and not just in like where they live and the parties they throw but just in their relationships alone. You know, everything's just perfect. But is it really perfect for anyone? I can tell you right now, it's not perfect for me and my family.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like the people who really put it out there, like, oh my gosh, we're so in love. Everything's amazing. I have the best life. Those are the people who you find out are getting divorced.
Yeah. And it's sad because I feel like they're the ones that are trying to convince themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, life is not easy. It's hard. But the nice thing is, I think the most important thing you can do is find that person that you want to be with, that you want to be next to your side and go along for that ride, because it's a long haul.
Totally.
Just talking about life and marriage. And then you add kids in the mix. That is hard. I think Davey and I lately, some of the things that we struggle most with, and I think I think it does impact our relationship to an extent, is parenting.
Really?
Yes. And so we're trying to find that common ground. And I'm a softie. I'm just going to tell you.
I am too.
I'm the softie. And Davey is very much a disciplinarian. But Davey is also a very...
Don't like that.
No, but he's not like...
No. I'm saying like I wouldn't like to be the disciplinarian.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. And I should be more of one. But then at the same time, my girls obviously adore their dad. Davey's a wonderful dad. He is the best one at teaching our kids, like at just teaching them lessons and talking to them, right? Whereas for me, it's sometimes I'm lazy and they'll ask me a question. I'm just like, you know what I mean? And then I'm the softie. But I've got it. Davey reminds me that I need to stop and have these conversations, even if it's just
Davey's like Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, it's anyway. So I just feel like every relationship struggles in some way or another, and that's not our only struggle. We have many, but at the same time, we have a lot of great things about our relationship. You know what I mean? And I love the guy to death. He makes me crazy sometimes, but then he also makes me the happiest out of anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, but I think it's refreshing to hear people talk about their struggles and their relationships. Dax Shepard, he's very, you know what? I love my Dax and the armchair expert. But I like that today I was listening to something, and I think it was when he had Gwyneth Paltrow on. He was talking about, I didn't find the one, I found one, and we turned it into the one. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like their relationship takes a lot of work, just like any healthy relationship
100%
is going to take a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend it's all hunky-dory.
I feel like I'm somewhere in between because I like to keep it real. Sometimes when I look the craziest, I like to take a picture of myself because I'm like, this is how I look. Like, it's fine. But sometimes, like, Jeff, I think would be okay, like, having a full-blown knockout, drag out fight in front of everybody. I'm not that way. I get like a little bit like, I don't want to share how I feel in front of like other people.
Right.
But like, I'm okay to be real.
Yeah.
And I don't think the reality of it is I don't think that there's love at first sight and then you're in love and then you get married and have kids and it's perfect. I don't think that. I think a successful marriage is one that takes a lot of freaking work.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think one thing for me is like that I've struggled with is I'm not really good at like voicing my feelings. And so that's something I've learned this year, which is probably this year's been really challenging for me because I'm kind of that person that's like, I'm just going to soak it all in and then one day like freak out.
You and Davey are so much alike in so many ways.
But where Jeff is like, this is how I feel right now. We got to talk about it.
Yep.
Got to get it out. And then I feel great. And I'm over here being like, ugh. And so for me to just... I also process different. Like I have to like let it sink in. How do I feel? I have to like literally have these conversations. Like, how do I feel about this? You know, because I don't even know. Like Jeff will know the minute it happens how he feels.
Well, see, and I think you're healthy because I'm a lot like Jeff. I'm a reactor.
Yeah.
But I will react immediately and spit things out of my mouth, but not necessarily knowing how I truly feel.
Yeah.
It might be my immediate reaction. I think I just blow up, right? But then I wish I was a little more like you where I would stop and take a minute to process and think, am I being rational? You know, is it really that bad?
Like for me, I have to process.
Yeah, I think that's actually really
I
healthy
have to
and
process
smart.
because it's like, I don't want to say, oh, I feel this way because I don't even know if I feel like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you what you want to hear, and then that does us no good.
Yeah. And then you don't want to say things you regret 5 minutes later.
I mean, I'm pretty good about that, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not usually one, in my opinion, to think that I just blurt out like...
Yeah, you don't seem that way to me.
I don't think I am. Am I that way, Jeff?
No, you're not.
No.
Yeah.
He's much more of the like...
Again, it's opposites.
Yeah. Right? Isn't that funny?
It is funny, but you've learned to just recognize that that's how he's going to respond to certain things.
Yep.
He's going to learn that that's how you respond. I remember when Davey and I were first married and just getting into fights. Not even fights, but like, you know, arguments or whatever. And I'm a reactor and I want to raise my voice and talk about it. And he just would shut down.
That's how I am. I shut down.
And that to me... I hate that. That is like the worst form of punishment for me. For
really?
my husband. The fact that he just shuts down and just, but you know, as we've been married 10 years, he has kind of changed in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like excuse me, we'll talk about it a little earlier, but I mean, he's still Davey, you know? And I don't want to change him, but I'm just saying, like, you learn how to handle certain things, right? Being married to a certain person.
Totally.
At some point, you guys have to meet in the middle, right?
Well, like today, Jeff hurt my feelings, not like he was trying to, but he hurt my feelings, and he kept asking, like, what's the matter? What's the matter? And I was like, and I was already exhausted. So I was like, I'm going to take a nap. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm just going to take a nap. And then I took a nap, and then I was able, when I woke up and I was like, had time to like kind of think about it. And I was like very clearly able to say like, hey, this hurt my feelings. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And it didn't turn.
He probably didn't even realize
it. He didn't realize it. And it didn't turn into this huge fight. Because had at that time I've been like, rah, 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 he would have gotten defensive because it would have been about something. He would have taken it totally out of context. Yeah. And so like for me, I think what I've learned is I have to acknowledge and I have to like validate his feelings. Oh shit. I have to validate his feelings. And then I have to be like, I don't really know how I feel about this. Let me think on it. Yeah. So I think the reason
at least you're communicating that, right?
We talk a lot.
You're communicating that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't know where I stand yet, but I'm going to process it.
Yeah.
But you let him know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm probably more of the person where like I would never want to talk about it. Like I'd probably just shut down and be like, just sweep it under the rug. Yeah. But he's the one that's like, we need to talk about where are we at? Are we okay? So I'm grateful he's that way because that is not my nature. Mm-hmm. It's so funny in our relationship. I'm so much more of the masculine role and he's the more feminine role.
In what regard?
In like
emotionally?
Like, okay, emotionally, yes. Like, Jeff is much more emotional than I am. Like, I cry easily, but, like, Jeff's very emotional. Like, he gets his feelings hurt or, like, oh, he's going to kill me for saying that. But, like, he's just more emotional. Like, he's just more passionate about things. And, like, he just gets, he's just more emotional. Where I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just not. And then, like, he likes to cook. I hate cooking. Like, I enjoy cleaning, but, like, I'm very, like, I love to work. I'm very, like, driven in that area, and he is too, but, like, it's just different. Like, it's just funny. Like, we've never had traditional roles in our relationship, and I love it. And it's weird growing up kind of the way that I grew up. Like, a lot of people in, like, traditional cultures or whatever have like this is the husband and he goes to work and the mom stays home and takes care of the babies and blah 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 blah. Like we've never had that. It's always been like a 50-50. And I remember one day I think I was talking to my aunt and I said, I'm just there's like a little fly. I was talking to my aunt and I was like, Jeff and I are just always going to be 50-50. And it was like as soon as I said that I was like, psh.
Yeah.
Because I thought like, that is what marriage and life should be. It shouldn't be like, he's the man, and he's doing this, and I'm the little wifey at home. Because F that. Yeah. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm not built for that.
Right.
I like that I make good money, and that I work hard, and that I built something. And I love that I have a partner that's great with our kids, and cooks, and he works too. And, like, I love that, like...
It's 50-50.
It's 50-50.
You're both contributing.
Exactly.
And it can be that way too, even for some people that choose to be a stay-at-home mom and choose to go down that road of traditional. But I find a lot of times is that a lot of women that choose to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'll probably get myself in trouble for saying this.
I don't find that happens
but
where they're 50-50.
I'm just saying a lot of people that choose to have that, stay at home.
Yeah.
The husband gets home from work and they say, oh, I still have to do all the homework and the cooking and the cleaning and take care of the baby because my husband's been off working all day.
Yeah.
That's not fair and that's not right. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. I've worked full time since I've had kids.
Me too.
And mainly out of my house. But the days that I do go into an office, those are my easiest days. Mm-hmm. Those are my easiest days because I get to go sit in my office, shut my door, listen to something, do my work. People come in, I socialize, and, adult conversation. Those are my easiest days.
Totally.
And I'm telling you, those stay-at-home moms, that work they do is hard stuff. It is hard. Yeah. And I have a lot of respect for that. So what makes me sad is that when the husbands come home, they just can kind of sit on the couch and kick their feet up because they've been working all day. No, like maybe take a break for a second, but come on, you got to jump in there. It's got to be 50-50 in that house with kids.
It's hard for me one thing I struggle with is I am not an empathetic person. Like, I can feel sorry for people, but I'm not good at like putting myself in other people's shoes, because I look at myself and I think, okay, I work full time. I have 2 kids. I'm married. I have a house. I have a dog. I have friends. I have family. Like, and I'm able to keep a level of like getting stuff done. And I don't know, like I just, but I just have a hard time. And I think this whole like stay-at-home mom versus working mom, I think that's bullshit. Like, being a stay-at-home mom is honestly, in my opinion, the hardest job ever.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no, one is not right.
No.
And one is not wrong.
No.
It is an individual thing.
It's based on your family. Like,
on your family and you.
Yeah.
And you. Because
Like,
there's a lot of stay-at-home moms that I know that would be a hell of a lot better mom and just a happier person if they did have a little something else. You know what I mean? To take themselves out of just the role of mother, which it is the most important, in my personal opinion. That is my most important role. But it's okay to have a little something else too.
See,
but some people don't need that.
I don't have any friends. I am only close with 2 people who are stay-at-home moms. One's your sister Julie, and one's my friend Ashley that lives around the corner. And I just love them as people, but all of my friends are like working moms. Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of stay-at-home friends. I don't know what that looks like. And
I think too, a lot of times nowadays too, is it's not as easy to stay at home nowadays. Everything's so expensive.
Totally.
And so a lot of women that are working would love to be a stay-at-home mom.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So those that want to and that can are very fortunate.
Totally. And like, but even like the 2 friends I have who are stay-at-home moms are like some of the busiest people I know.
Yes, absolutely.
One of them, Julie, is very busy. My other friend, I don't know. I'm like, what do you do all day? She's like, I read. And I'm like, must be nice. But yeah, like, so for me, like, I don't know. I don't really know anybody anymore who has like this, I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom. Like, I feel like, which I think is great. I'm a total feminist. I feel like if you want to stay home and that's what you want to do, I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it because I've never had the opportunity. And this is something Julie and I will talk about too, your sister, where I'll say like, I'm sure it's great to be home. I don't know what that looks like. I've never done that. I really haven't. Oh, hi, Paco. I've never done that. I don't know what that looks like. So for me, like, I don't know. I will tell you, I was really bummed I didn't stay home more with Olive. And then I worked from home the full time with Lucy. And I was really grateful to be at work. Mm-hmm. Like, and I work from home. So I also have like a skewed, it's not like I'm in an office all day where I don't get to see my kids. Like, I was with my kids a lot. I see them all the time. So I don't know. I do think it's cool that we live in a time where there's so much you can do creativity wise and work. Will you shut the door, Lou? And work wise at home that you, shut the door, that you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's amazing.
Well, I think that we're evolving.
Yes.
We're much more progressive. Whereas back in the day, I think a lot of working moms were looked down upon.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And a lot of judgment there. And nowadays, you don't find that as much. I'm sure there's still some out there, but I feel like we've evolved and we're just more progressive.
Well,
and
I look at it like, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would say things like, oh, you need to find someone who can take care of you. And like, as an adult, I'm like genuinely pissed off by that comment because I'm like sitting here thinking like, I'm so grateful I married Jeff because he has always in our marriage made me equal to him. Not like, oh, I'm the husband, I'm the man. Like, never. And so for me, like, we're taking care of each other. Like, I will never say to my daughters, marry someone to take care of you.
No, you're going to teach
Hell no.
You get out there and you educate yourself.
You educate yourself. You
Yeah.
work yourself. And you're in a marriage because you want to be.
Yes.
Like, I can honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, say that I'm in a marriage because I want to be. Like, I don't have to. I'm not with Jeff because like, oh, he's taking care of me or he does it. I'm with Jeff genuinely because I love him, because we're good parents, because we're good friends. Like, and I just think, we're changing. I think we're evolving as women. And I think it's crazy. Like, just, I remember like growing up, like people saying things like, you know, like my mom, like, oh, find someone to take care of you. Like now I look at that and I just want to scream because no, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. And like a lot of the reason I've been
Find someone that's going to love you, respect you.
Find someone who's going to respect you, who's going to lift you up, who's going to be a partner, who's going to be your friend, who's genuinely like supportive of you. Like, I just think, I really believe like, as far as F gender roles, like that doesn't exist anymore. And that shouldn't exist anymore because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy or whatever. We're just like a family, and he likes to cook and I like to clean. And I'm like kind of a workaholic, and he likes to, you know, he's more fun than I am. Like, so for me, like, I just think that's becoming such a big part of my life because I don't live these normal gender roles, nor do I want to. I don't want that.
You don't want to conform to a certain lifestyle or to a certain role because the world tells you need
exactly.
to. You need to do what makes you happy, what's best for you, what's best for your family.
Exactly. And here's the deal. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, I have a good friend who I adore. She's my third stay-at-home mom friend, now that I think about it. She's a really hard worker. She worked at the Four Seasons for years and then had a baby. Didn't know if she was going to come back. Decided to stay home. Got a part-time job working at her church, like a Christian church or whatever. She's pregnant with baby number 2 and decided, you know what? My husband makes great money. I don't really want to work. I don't want to miss this time with my daughter.
Yeah.
That's amazing that she can do that.
Yes, absolutely.
So for me, I just think like, I don't know. I'm like really big right now on like women supporting women. Like if you want to stay home, cool.
Don't make somebody feel inferior because they don't have a career.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It should all be based on your happiness.
Exactly.
I love what you said is build people up. I feel like a lot of times women, and not just women, men,
but mostly women
in general, but women do tend to compare themselves to others. Okay. And for example, are very critical of people. And you want to know why they're critical. It's because down deep, they're kind of jealous.
Totally.
Because this person they're critical towards, and I find myself doing it all the time. I'll admit it. I'm like, wait, are they really a bad person?
No,
they have something that I am jealous of or that I want, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? In terms of just, it can be just like emotional, personality. I mean, anything really.
Well,
but we should be building people up and rooting for them.
Exactly. And I think a lot of it too, I think for me, and all I can speak to is my own journey, right? Journey. That sounds so stupid.
No, it doesn't actually.
But like,
you've had a 35-year journey as of today.
But like, all I can think of is like, every time I look at someone's life and I think, oh, they're so lucky. I wish I had that. Like I've had family members who I thought, oh, so lucky. And I'll go spend time with them. And I think their life's amazing. But I kind of like mine better.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think we don't know these influencers and these moms that portray like, oh my gosh, my kids are perfect and my house is clean. Like your house could be a shithole. And this one little area you took a picture of is clean. Like, I think we have to stop curating your life. Like, and it's so funny because Jeff gives me so much crap. He's like, oh, Instagram worthy. And I'm like, do you even follow me on Instagram? I feel like I post constantly like I look crazy today or, you know, like for me, like, I don't know. I think social media is amazing because it's a way that we connect with people. But I also think it's really detrimental to people who maybe don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
And they look at other people and they're like, oh, geez, well, they bought this bazillion-dollar house and they have this. Like, how I'm working so hard and I can't even get that. Like,
right.
That's why I do think you need to kind of, for me, like I'm not good at like self-reflection, but when it comes to comparing myself, I'm really good about like comparing myself to myself. Like, am I happier doing what I'm doing now than I was? Yeah. You know, that sort of a thing.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I think when you're constantly saying like, must be nice, or looking at other people and being upset with other people because they have things that you don't have, That's a problem with you.
And that's got to be exhausting.
That's exhausting.
It's got to be exhausting. I've gotten caught up in that before.
Yeah.
And at one point I was like, done. I am getting off the social media.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of these crazy influencers and just people everything was just so curated. And
yeah.
And then I find myself doing the same thing. I would only post pictures of the clean areas in my house. And, just everything had to be perfect. And of course, you're not just going to go post your sob story on Facebook.
No, because that's like a
Instagram
whole
too.
Other thing.
Well, actually, I know a lot of people that do. And that kind of breaks my heart too. But anyway, for me personally, I did get caught up in a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I walked away from social media for more than a year. And it was the best thing for me.
Yeah.
It was
totally.
awesome. And so, yeah, and I was just more present in my life. And now I'm back on mainly for my podcast, but I still follow people and check things out. And I just have a much more healthy approach and outlook now with it.
Yeah.
Because I really am happy for people and it's fun to see and catch up with people and, connect with people you haven't seen in years. But it's all about just, you've got to be happy with yourself.
Totally.
At the end of the day, you have to be content with your life. And for me, one of the reasons why I'm so grateful I am happy in my life is my life perfect? Absolutely not. But I've got a pretty dang good life. But I'm so grateful because the more I can feel confident and the more happy I am is the more present I'm able to be with myself and my children and my husband. And I love being present in my life. I'll tell you though, Davey, my husband, he is awesome about this because we'll be, for example, we were at a Van Morrison concert. And I pulled out my phone because I was like, we got to record Brown Eyed Girl because that's my daughter Letty's song. And actually my girls, they love all of Van Morrison. So I was like starting to record all these songs. And Davey's like, Amy, put your phone up. You shouldn't be watching the concert through the lens. Like, put it up and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I got a couple of my little photos, put that phone up, and I enjoyed it. We were just at the Garth Brooks concert a couple of days ago.
Why didn't you invite me?
I know. Next time we're going to go.
And I don't even like country music. And
that's how Davey is. Davey's not a country guy, but you can't go wrong with Garth. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I grew up with him. In fact, being at that concert.
Video of you guys. I got friends. You're like kicking your feet and holding your.
Right. But listening to Garth Brooks, that takes me back to my childhood in St. John's. And it just, like my cousins, the 24th of July, he reminds me so much of my Uncle Rick, my Uncle Josh, just like my grandpa, the true cowboys in my life, right? I'm so proud to say that I come from a family of cowboys.
You do.
How did my dad come from this family? It's so funny because he's such a little city slicker. But but yeah, I love that I come from a family of cowboys. But going to Garth Brooks, actually, I did take it out during Shameless because my best friend Mara says, sing along to Shameless for me. So I did take it out for a second and I videoed a little clip of Shameless for her. But then I put it back and I just enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing is that later that night and the next day, I'm on Instagram, right? Scrolling through. I saw a million clips from the concert, people filming it. And it just made me think of Davey, like, watch the show. Don't watch it through the lens.
Like, enjoy it.
Yeah. And it was so...
You guys are good about going to concerts. I feel like you go to a lot of concerts.
I have been. I'll tell you this. Davey is good about going to the concerts with me because I take him to a lot of the old folk stuff.
You have always been an old soul.
Definitely.
I think I even told you this. I always thought you were going to marry someone who was like 65.
Oh, I always did too.
Had like grown children.
Yep.
When you married Davey, I love Davey. I would have picked Davey for you.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, huh? He's younger than you?
And I think a lot of people did too.
Yeah.
Because, and I was always attracted to older men. And you're right. I'm an older soul.
I always thought you were going to marry like one of your dad's friends. And we were going to like go to this wedding where I was like, if she's happy, she's happy. And you surprised us. I'm grateful.
Oh, me too. I could not.
Like, what a life. That would have been a little bummer to marry like such an old person.
Yeah.
But
And I always liked older men.
Yeah.
And I remember giving Julie, just joking around with Julie, like, oh, you're marrying a younger guy. And then I marry a younger guy. And it's been perfect. It has not been perfect, but for me, he is perfect for me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He's good for you.
He's good for me. He seriously, like, calms me down. He's really good for me.
He makes you younger.
Yes, he
does.
does.
He takes your old lady soul
He
And he
does.
brings it down a few notches.
He does. In fact, when people ask me how old I am, I say I'm 34. I go by his age.
Okay, that's bullshit because now you're younger than me.
I'm younger than you. But now I'm an old 37-year-old pregnant, going to have a child at
I'm not going to
38.
lie. I don't think I've been happier about anything in the longest time. Like I am. Can we just call it a joint baby? Can this be my baby? Can I be the adopted mom?
And we have this on. We have this recorded.
We have this recorded. Okay. Speaking to the camera, please.
No, but anyway.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's I don't even know how we got sidetracked to there. But
wait, make me a promise. If it's a girl, her middle name's Elyse.
I already have the names. I'll tell you
it.
offline.
Yeah, you tell me offline.
But I do love that. I do love your name, Elyse. Talking about your girls, how you sometimes wonder, oh, am I giving them what they need? The amount of time, opportunities. Are they getting the childhood that you want them to have?
Yeah.
Talk to me about your childhood, because you talked about earlier, a lot of people come from traditional families, and I would say yours is a little less than traditional.
Yeah. So my parents are divorced. My mom joined the Mormon church when I was a kid, like when my parents got divorced. So she immediately indoctrinated in that. And then my dad's and my mom's whole family, they're Catholic. So that was always kind of weird because it's all these generations of my family are this religion that I don't know anything about, right? And so then my dad growing up is not into religion at all, and is really bitter at my mom because she because of the Mormon stuff. And anyways,
even though her conversion was after their divorce.
Yes, because my dad feels like the Mormon church helped her, aid her in the divorce, screwing him over. I don't know. So for me, I don't know. It's just weird. And then my mom married my stepdad, Dale, who as an adult now is amazing. I love my stepdad.
I love Dell.
I love him. But
He
growing
taught me
up,
how to do my taxes.
amazing.
I think of him every time, every year around this time.
That's amazing. But growing up, he was a very grumpy dude. He was super grumpy. I think he had a really hard time that my mom had 3 kids. Mm-hmm. And then they had 3 kids. And it's just a lot. And, I don't know. Growing up, I basically raised my siblings, my younger siblings.
The 3 that your mom
it's funny because people talk about their place order in the family, and I'm everything. So with my dad and the baby, and I very much get treated like the baby by my dad. Growing up, my dad, my sister Emily and John, it was always they couldn't do enough. They didn't get good enough grades, even though my sister was number 5 out of 1,000 in high school, her graduating class, number 5. Wow. And just never could live up to whatever. And my parents were sweet, you graduated from high school. There just wasn't, which has ironically been such a drive for me because I just felt my parents never pushed me because they were cool, you're just I was number 3 for my dad. So it's cool, you graduated from high school. Great. You got into a college. Perfect. There was never you have to go to this college. So I think for me, that was always a driving factor. I wanted to prove well, I'm smart. Well, I can get into wherever. Well, I can do whatever. I just want to prove him wrong. And then in the big family of all 6, I'm the middle, right? Between I'm pretty much directly Daniel and I in the middle. And then of the younger 3, I'm the oldest. Or the younger group, I'm the oldest because I was home. Because Emily and I are 3 years apart. So I've kind of had every role, which is unique. Absolutely. And I kind of have been a little bit of the glue, not so much anymore, but growing up, I pretty much have a good relationship with everybody, except for Mary.
I feel like you and Jeff still kind of play that role in terms of being the glue, because I feel like you guys are always good about bringing your family together.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
For example, I totally walked in on your family party the other day here, and that was so fun. It was so fun to see your family.
Yeah.
But I feel like you guys do that a lot. You entertain and you bring them all together.
We have, for the most part, been the glue of that crew.
You are a big proponent of mental health.
Yes.
And mental health is something very important to you.
And we should tie this back to my childhood because
Okay.
the reason why is because, so growing up, I grew up in a very chaotic household. Like, my dad hates my mom. My mom hates my dad. It's always about money. Always about money. Everything in my life is about money with my parents. My dad makes a ton of money. My mom wants to take him for all the money he has because she's mad at him. She used us a lot. He used us a lot. I hated it. So
that's a lot for a little.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I hated it. And then my stepdad basically doesn't like us. Now I'm sure he does, but like growing up hated us because I think we symbolize like this stress with my mom or whatever bullshit. So needless to say, I didn't have like your Joan Cleaver growing up that I'm sure every person wants. And so like when I married Jeff, I got married really young. I was like 19, which sounds crazy. If you're 19, don't get married that young. I would still marry him today, honestly. At 35, I would remarry him. So I think that's saying a lot. So I definitely think I married the right person. I think, getting married really young was kind of traumatic for me. So it was like all of a sudden I was still in college, which was like a big thing for my parents. They thought if I got married really young, I wasn't going to graduate from college, blah, blah, blah. I did. I graduated from college. And so, but like after the year we got married, like I just started having like panic attacks and I was just like constantly stressed out and like crazy shit would just like constantly stress me out. And so I was in school, I was at ASU and I was just like constantly like crying and Jeff was like, what is happening? Because like, this is just not my personality. And so I decided one day, I was like, I'm going to go see a therapist because I don't know what's going on here. And I went to see her and it was like the best thing I ever did. And it was funny. I got to tell this story. So I'm 20 years old and I make an appointment to see a therapist at the ASU Health Center, like the mental health center. Mm-hmm. And her name's Laura that I make the appointment with. And they call me and my appointment is at like 2:30 p.m. And they call me and they say, hey, you have an appointment with Laura at 2:30 p.m. There's actually another counselor that just came available named Laura that's available at 11 a.m. Would you like the earlier appointment? And I said, no, I think I'm going to stick with the other Laura because for some reason I feel like I should. 15 years later, I still see that Laura once a month.
You followed your gut.
I followed my gut. Life-changing. That woman, like, if it wasn't completely inappropriate, I would like hug and kiss her every time I saw her. Like, I love her. She knows more about me than any other person on the planet, which is crazy because we're not even friends.
Yeah.
We're not even friends. And she knows everything about me. And I love it.
It's nice that you have that safe place.
Yeah. So for me, like, and it just took a lot, like, going through therapy to kind of work through, like, not putting Jeff as my dad. Not, like, the frustration I had towards my dad at Jeff. Mm. And that's really confusing. And honestly, like, I'm so grateful that I had the foresight. Because, like, I looked at, like, my mom and I thought, you know what? I don't want to be 50 and having all this stuff that I never dealt with. Mm-hmm. Like, I got to get this out. I was much smarter about that kind of stuff than my age. Like, I was much smarter to think, like, I have a lot of stuff that if I don't get it out, it's going to ruin my life, because I'm like, I was so stressed Jeff was going to cheat on me because my dad cheated on my mom. I was so worried about that. And Jeff's
that's
like,
what you knew.
Yeah. And I was like so scared we were going to get divorced and fight. And so it just has been really good and just learning like the tools to deal with it. And even that, like when I was pregnant, I was a hot mess. I was so scared constantly. I have like severe anxiety. So I was so scared, and just having someone to kind of help me talk through it, it's life changing. Mm-hmm. And even now, like when Jeff and I have fights, a lot of times like we talk about it and I'll go talk to Laura and I'll be like, okay, this is what I said. This is how I felt. And she'll kind of help me be like, okay, well, like digging in, and it feels very safe.
Yeah.
So if you don't get counseling, you should all get counseling, because I am the biggest believer in counseling. I think it is so great. I think everyone should do it, even if you don't think anything's wrong with you, even if you think you're perfect.
Which no one is, let's be honest.
No one is, but I think you and I have talked about this. Like, to me, like, what do you have to go to counseling? You have this perfect life, like, right? Perception. Mm-hmm. But you went life-changing. Good for you. Helpful for you.
Well, and I went for a reason that I didn't think was me. Like, I didn't go, when I first went to therapy, I didn't go because I thought I had a problem.
That's amazing.
I went for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
To get some help on how to navigate certain things.
Yeah.
And then on my third session in, my therapist is like, we're not talking about that, and that. We're going to talk about you.
Yeah.
We're going to dive in. We're going to talk about you from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that was so eye-opening.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all have our stuff.
Yes.
We're human.
We're human.
Nobody comes without imperfections.
No.
Period.
Well, and let's cycle back to what we had talked about, like other people's lives, right? Here's the thing. I'm related to, and I have friends and family who have gone through shit that I'm like, that's nothing compared to what I've gone through, right? I mean, nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to process. And so like, I catch myself being like, why are you such a baby? Figure it out. And then I think, you know what, though?
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know the impact
I don't know what they've gone through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will tell you this. Going through therapy and being self-reflective and, you know, all of this has been, I think, such a good tool as a mom. Like, I have my kids go to therapy to check in. It's, for me, I know that sounds crazy, but like...
It doesn't sound crazy. I think it's very healthy.
Yeah.
And you're teaching your kids at a young age, like, forget the stigma of therapy.
Yeah.
Like, it is okay to talk about things.
Yes.
And to work through things. You're not going to see things like all your little friends see things exactly. Like, do you mind me asking what drove you to get your kids into therapy?
Yes. So Lucy has ADHD. And they had recommended like, oh, you should probably see like a therapist for that, like to help her. And I thought, you know, Olive has a lot of anxiety from Lucy's ADHD. Olive wants everything to be perfect. She doesn't like when people are upset and she gets really anxious about Lucy. And so for her, like, I thought, well, if Lucy's going to do it, you know, we should have Olive do it. Ironically, Olive still sees a therapist. Lucy does not. And Olive, like, it's just so good for her to go talk to a girl, a really nice, pretty young girl.
Who's not mom.
Who's not her mom, who's not her dad, who she could say whatever she feels is not going to offend. And she can say, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And this is a person who's not us can say, okay, well, how can we work through that? What can we do next time? And so she's learning, like, this counselor gave her these drawings that she can like mind when you're feeling anxious or stressed, just go color. So she's got these really intricate drawings that the other day I saw she pulled it out and just coloring. She's learning tools. Okay, I'm feeling a little anxious because that poor kid is prone. Jeff has anxiety. I have anxiety. I think everybody has anxiety, to be honest. But like, she's just going to have stuff. We all have stuff. Even if we think we're perfect parents, we're still screwing our kids up. And so for me, I'm like, I want to introduce something healthy. I would much rather Olive learn that going to a therapy session and talking to someone that's not her mom and dad is a better use than drugs and alcohol.
Yes. Amen.
Is better than trying to seek validation through sex with some kid. You know? Mm-hmm. Like, so I'm already, all I can think is like, my mom probably did a little bit better than what her parents did. And I'm hoping to do a lot better than what my parents did, you know? And maybe she's going to grow up and still have stuff. But at least I'm trying to give her the tools that worked for me.
Yeah, you're arming her with these tools.
Yes.
From such a young age.
Yes. And we're very vocal with our kids. We're really honest. I think that's the other thing. I think growing up, like my parents, like they didn't really talk about like real life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm not like wanting to talk to her about money or finances or things like that, but like I want her to see like moms and dads fight and moms and dads make up.
Yes. And it's so important because your kids are going to see you bicker. They're going to see you have arguments in front of them. And it's so important to make up in front of them.
Exactly.
I've seen that with you and Jeff. I have literally seen you guys bicker and then make up in front of your girls.
Yeah. We're not perfect. We've got our stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, who is? But I love that. You guys are good examples of making up in front of your kids.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But just being open and having those conversations with your kids too.
Yeah.
But again, too, it's hard because you have to be very careful. There's a fine balance there because certain things are age appropriate, right?
Yep.
And certain things are a little too heavy for
100%.
certain ages, right? Like you don't
100%.
want your kids to hear you fighting about money or
No.
certain things that are just, they don't need to have that burden.
No.
You know, at such a young age. It's just, you gotta figure it out. Parenting is hard.
It's hard.
It is hard.
And here's the thing. We're never going to be able to give our kids a Disneyland life. And if you do, I think you're doing them a disservice because that's not how life is. Here's the thing. When they leave, they're going to have to figure out what they want to do in their life, how to navigate a relationship or relationships, how to navigate the world, how to navigate college and a job, and all of this. My sister-in-law, Rachel, told me this yesterday. When she was a kid, she got bullied by this girl. This girl was bullying her. And she called her dad bawling. And she goes, Dad, come pick me up. Come pick me up. Because she got bullied about her skin. And her dad goes, okay, fine, I'll come get you. And then he called her back. She was like a freshman in high school. He calls her back 10 minutes later. And he says, you know what, Rachel? I'm not going to come get you. Because I can't always save you. And you're going to have to figure this out. And if you don't learn how to confront problems, I'm never going to do you a disservice because I can't always save you. And she told me yesterday, she goes, that was one of the best things he's ever done for me. And as a parent, oh my gosh, you never want to see your babies.
No. And the first thing you want to do is you want to get in that car and you want to drive to that school and you give that girl or whoever's bullying you.
Actually, what'd you say about, oh my gosh, Mama Bear? That's funny. Mama Bear comes out so hard and I have to just tame it.
Yeah.
I'm like, shh.
I know, but that's your initial reaction. You want to do that. But
They need to learn.
They need to learn, and you can only protect them so much.
The thing is I would rather them learn now while I'm here helping them than me give them this golden life and then they leave my house and they burn because they don't know how to function.
And a lot of, I've seen this in good family friends growing up is, certain parents keep these kids in a bubble and they're so stinking strict and restrictive. And I'm not saying you need to let your kids go out till midnight in third grade or whatever. Like, I'm not saying you need to be loosey-goosey. But there is, again, the fine balance. Because if you keep those kids in such a tight bubble and you are so restrictive with them, the second they leave that house, they are going to go wild.
Exactly.
And I've seen that a lot.
Exactly. I think I'm probably a good judge for my poor child. Olive, I ordered a glass. I drink rosé. I love it. I ordered a glass at lunch today, and I think she wanted to die. Like, my mom, she's ordering rosé. How dare she? And you know what? Don't be so damn judgy, Olive. Okay? Don't be so damn judgy because guess what? I'm a good person. I'm your mom. I love you. I treat you so well. And sometimes I drink rosé. Sometimes I drink coffee. Does that make me any better than someone else who doesn't? No. We're all just people. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to give my kids a false sense of reality. And I sometimes, so like my mom, like we talked a little bit of religion, like I'm not very religious. I struggle with religion. It is not my thing. I don't find comfort in it. I actually hate it. I hate going to church. It's not my thing. Jeff loves it. Jeff loves it. Jeff and Olive love it. Lucy and I, every Sunday, Lucy goes, I'm staying home with Mom. I was very traumatized by it. My mom drives to the temple every week and hasn't seen my kids since before Christmas. But she goes to the temple every week. We live a mile from the temple. Like, so for me, like, I've just had a lot of negative experience with religion. So for me, I'm not very religious. But, like, I want my kids to also, if you're going to grow up in Gilbert where there's a lot of Christians and Mormons and Catholics or whatever, just people are people and people are good people. And let's judge people based on how their actions, not what rule they follow.
Right. Yeah. You know what? I will tell you, I am very fortunate because I grew up in an LDS family. And my parents, both my parents are very religious.
Totally.
Like, that religion's serious to them. However, I grew up with the most open-minded parents.
You're lucky.
Very lucky. We lived in a little town. I've said this a million times, so I don't need to keep saying this, but St. John's. We would come down to Phoenix, the Valley, on weekends. My parents used to make us go to church on Sunday. Was it always a Mormon church? No. You name a church, Elyse, we have been in their congregation.
That's amazing. See, I wish my parents would have done
Methodist, Baptist. I remember going to church where we were the only white people in that congregation, and it was fun. Like, people are singing and dancing, and they were so nice and welcoming to us. I felt at home. But I remember as a kid when my parents would say, okay, we're going to go to this church. We'd say, what? No, we can't go to that church. We don't belong to that church. We belong to this church. We shouldn't be doing this. And I'd throw a fit, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought it was so bad. My parents were teaching me the best lesson possible. Mm-hmm. First of all, appreciation for other religions.
Totally.
Teaching me that just because we belong to one religion doesn't mean we're superior or better than people in another religion. Mm-hmm. But they taught us that religion's good. Mm-hmm. Like, all religion's good, and you can find good in all of them, right?
Exactly.
And just an appreciation and a respect for others. And I am so grateful that I grew up with my parents because they did teach me. They taught us all. Like, you're not better than anyone.
You're very fortunate.
Yeah, and very fortunate. But they were just very open-minded, right? And very accepting. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, very accepting.
Yeah.
Of just everybody, you know?
Totally.
They're just not, so I'm very fortunate.
I look at religion like there's right in everything and there's wrong in everything. And I personally, and this might be very controversial, but I don't think one religion has it right. I think we all have it right. I think, the best person that put it this way was our old neighbor, Glenn, who's like a Methodist preacher. And he said, all religion's right. It's just your tradition. So I'm a Methodist tradition. You're a Mormon tradition. You're a Catholic tradition. You're a Jewish tradition.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I believe.
Yeah.
Honestly, I truly believe in being a good person.
Being a good person. And then also important for people to be able to separate and recognize the difference between principles, like gospel foundations of religion, and culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right here, right now, there's a lot of things about the culture of my religion that rub me the wrong way.
It's just not real.
Yeah. And I does it mean I don't believe in my church and the teachings? No. Yeah. Does it mean that are there things in my culture, the culture of my church, that I don't agree with? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's an important thing. You have to just go with your heart and,
totally
find the truths that speak to you.
Totally.
And pray about that. But you have to recognize that the people in any religion are not perfect. There's a culture and then there's the gospel, right?
Exactly. So
and
for
there's a big difference there.
And like for me, religion gives me anxiety. I don't like it. I don't like sitting in church. I feel like I don't get a ton out of it. And that's me. I feel like I get a lot out of serving other people. Look, like, this is crazy, but like a lot of times, like, I'll go to Target. Okay, perfect example. This sounds horrible. I promise I've never stolen a thing in my life. But I was at Target the other day, and I went to go buy my daughter a jean jacket, and there wasn't a tag. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, you know how easy it would be just to throw it in my bag? No one would ever know. And I thought, no, because you know what? That would bring horrible juju to me, because
and
that's
I
bad.
cannot imagine you doing
No, I would never. That's not my personality. I've never even stolen a pack of gum.
You would go walk yourself
I would.
I did steal a pack of gum once when I was with my brother Ashley, and he made me walk in to the store and return it. I was probably like 5 or 6.
I've literally never stolen anything in my life. Like, I never would. It's just not.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
like in this moment of like where I'm literally thinking like I could do this, and I thought, you know what? I wouldn't do this because this is the wrong thing to do. Not because my religion says it's wrong, and not because my parents say it's wrong, but because in general, it's a wrong thing to do. And so for me, that's how I function my life. I want my kids, I don't care if my kids are Jewish or Catholic or whatever, or agnostic, I don't care. But if they're good people, that's what I care about. If they stop and help somebody, that's what I care about. Because being like a Christ-like, that's more important, is how you act.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think when you die, like, you don't stand in front of whoever it is and say, oh, how did you act? How were you as a person? Who were you nice? Who did you help? Not, I went to church every Sunday and I sat in all 3 meetings. Like, I don't think that matters.
Yeah.
And so for me, this is bizarre. I don't even know how we got to this point, but I'm just saying, like, for me, religion I don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, being a good partner with Jeff. Like, Jeff loves it. It's good for him. He loves it. I don't.
You guys can find the balance.
And for him, he's like, cool, if you don't want to go, babe, don't go. I don't care. I love you. You're a great person. Who cares?
Yeah.
I am who I am.
And you own that, and that's good. Absolutely. For me, I'm the same way. I want my kids to be good people.
Totally.
I don't want them to be judgmental. I want them to just be kind to people. But another thing, and this may be a little too churchy for you, but something that's very important to me is I just want my kids to know that they don't have to be alone in all of this.
No.
Like, I'm talking outside of me, their mom and their dad, but that they can truly pray to a God above, and he's going to hear them and he's going to guide them through. So that, to me, that is so important. If I just teach for example, my little girl, Letty, this is an excuse.
Her prayers are magic.
Oh, yeah, her prayers. I mean, she blesses the Easter Bunny and
Santa Claus.
She blessed her dad last night in her prayer, and she's like, bless my dad to be nicer because he makes me clean too much. Anyway, but she loves to come in our room in the middle of the night. Like, she just went through, not anymore, but she just, like, a while ago went through this phase. I mean, she's 4 years old. She should not be doing that. We've never let our kids sleep in our bed.
My 10-year-old was in my bed last night.
Yeah. So she uses the excuse, I had a nightmare, I had a bad dream. So we tell her, sing a primary song or say a prayer. Thank you so much for diving in, especially on your birthday.
I know, my 35th birthday.
So
you're welcome, You're welcome, listeners.
Yeah. So we're not done. We will be back with part 2 with Elyse.
Okay.
So thank you so much for diving in.
I love you.
And go party hard.
And
love you too.
And I'm excited for my new niece. I think it's a girl.
It's a boy.
It's a girl.
Alrighty.
All right.
We should make a bet on that.
I would bet you. I don't know.
We'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
All right.
All right, bye.
Jeff, we are done.